Hi, and welcome to this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. I'm Nancy Steenson with Steenson College Coaching. With me, as always, is Jack Wang, and we have a special guest today. We're welcoming Penny Linsenmeyer from Pathway Admissions in Houston, Texas. So, Penny, welcome to our show, and we are dying to know all about applying to college in Texas, because I know it's really a little bit different than some of the other states. Can you share with us some things students might need to know when they're applying to colleges in Texas?
Hi, Nancy. That's a great question. Texas is really different in a number of ways, and I'll try to hit the high points of what those are without going into getting too far into the weeds. Number one is that we use a different application portal here in Texas. You're probably familiar with the Common App. Some students would be familiar with the Coalition app. Texas has its own application portal called the ApplyTexas portal. Now, many Texas schools are also on the Common App or the Coalition app. But if you are only applying to schools in Texas, the ApplyTexas platform is definitely the way to go. It's a little bit easier. If you are only applying to, say, UTNA and Texas A&M, and you're from out of state, the Coalition app may be your friend in that instance. The portal itself is a little different. The ApplyTexas has rejiggered that last year. It is still not super user friendly, as I think you know, but it is a portal that most people can navigate without too much difficulty. The essays prompts are a little different with ApplyTexas, and what I tell my students is this. Your Common App prompts, the 7th prompt is your topic of your choice, right? So you can generally sort of meld any topic that you were writing for the Common App and make it fit the ApplyTexas prompt. So I tell people, don't get too tripped up by the fact that personal statement prompt is a little bit different with ApplyTexas. It reads a little like a biography, tell us the story of your life. And so some students kind of approach it in a different way. And really what they need to do is just use the personal statement that they're using for the other application portals that they may be doing. Okay. The class rank is really important in Texas for Texas residents. Okay, so Texas residents that are applying into college in Texas, public state schools, if they are in the top 10% of their high school graduating class, they are automatically accepted into all Texas state universities other than UT Austin. And UT Austin has carved themselves out a little exception, and they've gradually reduced that 8%, then it was 7%, and now it's at 6%. It may eventually slide to 5%. It would not surprise me. Okay. The reason that's important is that if you're applying to Texas A&M or UT Austin, those are the big Texas universities, as you know, and the ones that are going to be probably most popular for out-of-state students. UT Austin, if you think about it as a pie, they're going to fill 75% of their pie with in-state students in the top 6% of their high school class. So the remaining 25% is divided up like this. 10% will go to out-of-state students and international applicants. So the out-of-state piece of the pie is very small. The remaining 15% is then going to be the Texas residents who are not in the top 6%. And for those students, it also is a very competitive thing. If you're in the 7th percentile, 8th percentile, even the 10th percentile, you still stand a pretty good chance depending on which major you're applying into. And I'm going to get into that in just a second, because that's a whole nother animal for UT Austin. But the 10% rule will apply to all the other Texas schools, including Texas A&M. Out-of-state students, they are the UT and the other Texas schools are going to be a little less focused on this class rank business. They can't really, this is really the Texas legislature. So it's going to be pretty holistic review for out-of-state students coming into other Texas, applying into other Texas schools. So UT Austin, and when I say UT, let me just clarify, UT does have a number of satellite campuses. So I'm not talking about UT Dallas, UT Arlington, UT San Antonio. We are talking about UT Austin in terms of this, what I'm about to talk about, which is the vagaries of UT Austin. They are very focused, probably more focused than any college in the country, on whether a student is applying into the major for which they have the strongest fit. And we call it fit to major. That is very, very important to UT. And so when we look back at that application portal, and I mentioned that they have, a slightly different ApplyTexas common essay, personal statement prompt. UT Austin also has 4 supplementals, and they are short answers, 250 to 300 words each. There are 4 of them. One of them, the top one, does have to do with why do you want to apply into this particular major? This is really, really important. This is not the kind of short answer that you want to write the hour before your application deadline is coming due. You need to take a lot of time with it. UT Austin also requires an expanded resume, meaning they don't want even just a 1 or 2 page resume. They want you to really, really dig into your activities, what you've done with all your high school experiences. And they expect all of that to kind of tie in to the why this major. And so the other piece of this, with the other 3 answers, which are a little broader, one of them is sort of how do you see yourself contributing to the UT campus, that sort of thing. I say that should all tell a cohesive story, that you really want to keep drumming home with UT. I belong in this major, whatever that major is. The other thing about that's important to note is that many of their majors are very, very competitive, more competitive than you might expect. So the business school, the nursing, engineering, computer science, all of those are super competitive. Do not make the mistake, though, of thinking that you can backdoor your way into UT and apply as an education major and then change to computer science or business. It's just not really going to happen for you. And UT is pretty good at spotting that. So that's the other piece of the puzzle. Texas A&M is headed that way just a little bit. They are not quite as focused on fit to major. However, they have for a number of years had a special engineering essay. And we sort of expect that some of their other programs are probably also going to head that direction. So, look for that in the future. And then, of course, the other Texas schools are not as difficult to get into from out of state as, say, Texas A&M and UT Austin. And, the other thing I'll mention is test optional, which is, of course, something that is true around the country. Right now, Texas A&M and UT Austin are staying test optional. They're not 100% clear what they're doing for the next cycle for the class of 2023 kids, but it looks like they will be test optional.
Well, that's great information, Penny. Thank you so much for sharing. And I can say, listening to you, that it is a far cry from what I had to do to get into UT when I did, because I'm pretty sure I would never get a chance today. So that's great information. So many thanks, as always, for everyone joining us on this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. And again, many thanks to our special guest, Penny Linsenmeyer of Pathway Admissions, based in Houston, Texas. Everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.